Hi, my name is Trent Lockwood. This is my final presentation for COMS 3356, Leadership and Communication. For the book, I chose to read What It Takes to Be Number One, Vince Lombardi on Leadership by Vince Lombardi Jr. What do you believe it takes to be a leader? Are leaders just born to be leaders? This is the quote that answered that to me, and Vince Lombardi truly believes leadership is not just one quality, but rather a blend of many qualities. And while no one individual possesses all of the needed talents that go into leadership, each man can develop a combination to make him a leader. This quote just exemplifies to me exactly what Vince Lombardi thought. He thought that a man wasn't necessarily born a leader, but a man or woman becomes a leader throughout their life and throughout their experiences and by learning from their experiences. My book summary, the author is Vince Lombardi Jr. He was a teacher, a coach, a lawyer, a politician, and a motivational speaker. He's the son of the NFL coach Vince Lombardi, who won 5 world championships. He's one of the most quoted coaches I've ever heard as a player. All my coaches have always brought out Vince Lombardi quotes because they all ring true and they are all very inspirational. The book is based on Coach Lombardi's style of leadership to show and inspire people how to lead. And this book applies to all phases of life, not just football. Vince Lombardi's son did a great job of sharing many stories and anecdotes of how his father became the man who he was and the leader that he was. And it applies. This book truly does apply to all phases of anyone's life. To me, this brings us to what the book teaches about leadership. The book is based on the Vince Lombardi leadership model, which highlights self-knowledge, character, and integrity, followed by leadership. Self-knowledge. Leadership starts with self-knowledge. Only by knowing yourself, your principles and values, can you hope to become an effective leader. If you don't know who you are and what you believe in as a person, how can you then lead others? In other words, you have to have your priorities straight. This, to me, knowing who you are means always being on an even keel and leading by your example and being yourself. And Vince Lombardi did this constantly. So he lived by this first pillar. Number one, he knew who he was, and he stuck with it. Then you move on to character. Once you understand yourself, you can start to grow and write your character with good habits and competence to become an effective leader. You always seek the truth. You find and keep faith. You show humility and respect and compassion for others. Character is who you are. Basically, it's morals and values, and what the way you were raised has a lot to do with your character. Vince Lombardi was raised in a very strict Catholic faith, and he held on to that faith. He was a very godly man. He was always honest. He always had faith in God and in himself, and he constantly showed humility even in a loss, and especially in a win. He never boasted, and he led that way. Next was integrity. Vince Lombardi embodied integrity. Character is the root of this, and without this, there is no integrity. Integrity provides the foundation of leadership. These are the 2 pillars of effective leadership: character and integrity. Vince Lombardi was of high character and high integrity. He believed that you had to seek the truth in all things, and show love and respect for everyone. Win, but do so within the rules. He didn't want to be known as someone who was a cheater or win at all costs. But at the same time, his job was to win, and but he wanted to make sure when he did win, he did so with character and integrity and respect. My overall analysis of the book, it was a great book to read. I learned a lot, but it mostly reiterated what I learned throughout the class this year. Vince Lombardi Jr. did a great job of outlining who his father was and what he stood for. He gave the reader a great idea what the rest of the book was about with the Lombardi leadership model, which was broken down very well in the later chapters, so the reader was completely informed as to what each part of the model meant. Vince Lombardi's idea of a leader is spelled out crystal clear throughout the book because he himself was the model for his leadership model. Lombardi knew himself very well, what he stood for, what he believed in. His character and integrity were of the highest morals and value. That's what the book is about. The model of Vince Lombardi's exemplary leadership. The book lists many stories that back up the leadership model and help prove it is a good model. They are mostly football, but I believe that most anyone can relate to each story in some way. This book has convinced me that great leaders are created over a substantial amount of time and forged of the highest moral fiber. A leader is not simply born to lead, but made into one by hard work and experience. They love, respect, and lead by example. People follow someone who holds himself accountable for mistakes and expects nothing but the best from himself and everyone else associated with him. The leader will reprimand when needed and will be the first to congratulate for a job well done. He listens to feedback, and because he knows that he can always learn more and grow as things change. This was the epitome of Vince Lombardi, the example of an excellent leader. Thank you for your time. Hope you enjoyed it.